Did y'all hear? Not only that they're going to bring back Marvel versus Capcom, they bring back all the games. I'm talking about, X-Men, Children of Adam. They bring it back, and they also bringing back Fighting Force.
I mean, are you surprised with the success that X Men '97 that's having? That they're about to start really bringing these back. I'm not really shocked because X Men '97 has been like doing the damn thing, so I'm not really surprised.
I'm not surprised. Marvel versus Capcom never should have left, man. That was a big part of not only, that was a part of pop culture, bro. It was like Marvel vs. Capcom was huge, bro. One of the
the
greatest
crazy,
games of all time.
the crazy thing about Marvel vs. Capcom for me was I've never owned it on console, but best believe I played that bad boy in the arcade every chance I
Oh
got.
yeah.
Yeah, dozens of quarters wasted.
I'm telling you.
So man, look, hey man, I'm glad they bring it back Fighting Force, and I'm glad they bring it back X-Men versus Street Fighter. All of those games, man, those games was huge hits in arcades, man. We will get into a few arcade games a little bit later, but for now, man, hey, good to be back on here, man. Reporting live from Columbus, Georgia, man, the greatest city in America. We got the big three right here, Flash and BRF, man. What's up with y'all this week, man? How y'all be?
I'm doing pretty good. It's almost Friday, so I'm a happy camper. Just hope the weather kind of turns around. It's been nothing but rain here, so I want some good weather for the weekend. This coming weekend.
Yeah, BRF.
Right now, well, tomorrow we hitting that TGIF mode, so things going pretty good right now. Shoot, I think we have pretty much gotten our fair share of rain. Now we getting this heat, and then the rain's going to come back in. So trying to get ready for that. But I mean, all else, things are good, man. Life is good. I cannot complain.
Hey man, life is good. God is good, man, and it's good to have you both, the big three, on the Undisputed GOAT podcast, man. Always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor in order to have y'all, man. But life is good, not only in Georgia, not only in Wisconsin, not only wherever you are living, but life has to be good in Boston right about now, because the thing is, Boston came out there and gave the Dallas Mavericks a down home Mississippi butt whooping. A huge one. And a gentleman sweep is not doing it justice when you say that. So, man, I have to know. And we're joined by Casual, man. How you doing, man?
What's going on, OG? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? BIF, how you doing, family?
Man, casual man, life is good, bro. I can't complain. How everything going your way, bro?
Hey, man, working, and more working, huh? Mm.
Yeah.
Flash, what's going on, big bro? You doing all
How you
right?
doing, Casual? I'm doing all right. How about you?
Hey, man, can't complain. Wouldn't do no good.
Good.
Hey, so you came just in the nick of time, Casual, because guess what, man? I would normally go with the big three first, but big three, if y'all don't mind, man, let's hear Casuals. What are your thoughts on the finals at this point, man?
Nothing new. We said before this postseason started that the Celtics were heavily favored, especially with Giannis going down. There should have been no question that the Boston Celtics really had I don't want to say it was just a walkthrough through the Eastern Conference, but it felt like it, didn't it? And then especially in the NBA Finals, the only competition that I thought that truly could have created any type of competition to the Boston Celtics was the Denver Nuggets, because I feel like they had the proper pieces to be able to disrupt the defensive scheme of the Boston Celtics, and even offensively. I think we saw against the Dallas Mavericks those offensive possessions that the Celtics would waste going into iso ball or taking tough shots. The Denver Nuggets actually could have capitalized on that. That being said, though, once the Denver Nuggets lost in the semifinals, I sort of understood that the Celtics were like heavily favored, and I mean heavily favored, to walk out with not just a championship, but with a championship that very well could have ended in 4 or 5, and that's exactly what happened with the Dallas Mavericks. Because I mean, guys, did we think anything else of the Dallas Mavericks? Did we think the Dallas Mavericks were actually going to pull this off? Did we honestly think? Did we honestly
No.
think that
Not really.
Luka Doncic was going to all of a sudden just patch up all of these flaws that he had on the defensive end, and his lack of attention to detail, his ability to take plays off, to argue with the ref when he doesn't get a foul that he believes, the inefficient shooting slumps that he can go through. Did we think he was going to patch that up? Did we think Kyrie was going to all of a sudden learn how to dissect a Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum led defense? Did we think that he was going to just become this supreme playmaker that was going to find a way to still stay involved in the offense, even if he didn't have his shot going? Like, I don't know what people thought the Dallas Mavericks were.
I think I don't know if we didn't think it. I think people wanted to talk themselves into it.
I can see that.
I think even some of us did. I think we wanted to believe that this was going to be a more competitive series than it was. I mean, look at how much we were, rubbing up on Kyrie because he had one series, and I think, I think me and you casual said it a couple weeks ago before the series started. Like, there's no reason why Boston should lose this series. Like, there's none, especially if KP was healthy, which he was for the first 2 games, or one and a half games. But in essence, like, they were so deep that they didn't even need Tatum to be Tatum. He wasn't even the MVP. So I think we all, to a certain degree, wanted this to be a series. I mean, Luka and Kyrie on a certain level, I guess, are more fun to watch. And I think we wanted to talk ourselves into this series because except for like a little bit here and there, the whole NBA playoffs has been kind of anticlimactic.
Has it been? Well, I'm talking about on the Celtics end.
Yeah, like, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we just on the Celtics side, and in the Western Conference, no. Like, I think we had a way better series on that side of the ball, or on that side of the
bracket.
Yeah, and I think we wanted a good NBA final, and I think, but I think like our brains all knew that what happened.
BRF?
Yeah, because I remember before the final started, like I said to myself, like, the way Dallas looked against Minnesota, it was like Luka and Kyrie scared me just from their playoff, they're being bucket getters. I mean, regardless of what you say about those two, they can get buckets. But it's just like, even still, like, the Boston Celtics, when we presented the question about Kristaps Porzingis and coming back for the series, I said myself, if he's healthy, Boston's winning this in 5 because Dallas didn't have a matchup for KP. The problem was they didn't really need KP like that because everybody from Boston showed up, and they did what they were supposed to do at the end of the day. So it didn't. Yeah, we wanted to see a better series, but in all, I mean, just the way Minnesota couldn't attack Dallas and take advantage of mishaps and mistakes in the Western Conference Finals, you ain't getting away with that with a team like the Boston Celtics. And they took advantage of that from Game 1 to Game 5. And even with Game 4, the only reason why Boston lost Game 4 because they let that at like, okay, we got injuries. It's almost like, okay, yeah, we're gonna take the night off Game 4. We're gonna come at Game 5. We're gonna smoke them, and the rest is history. And that's exactly what happened. So, I just Boston top to bottom was just able to execute better. They were able to just they were able to attack the weaknesses of the Dallas Mavericks, which honestly most of it stemmed from Luka's inability to play defense, and then Kyrie having asking him to just, all right, can you do something with Jaylen Brown? Can you do something with Jason Tatum? And at this stage, and Jaylen Brown absolutely positively deserved the MVP of the finals. He straight up dominated. I mean, he straight up put a foot up the Dallas Maverick behind, just straight up. He straight up was just he was the best player in this series. But I will say this to the people that are talking about Tatum being, who was better than him in this series? To be honest with you, from the Boston side.
Drew Holiday.
Jason Tatum.
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
A large. But see, this is the all right. There can be a medium with Jason Tatum, and that's the thing that I don't want people to do. Jason Tatum this postseason proved why he cannot be a top 5 player. But he also proved why he shouldn't be questioned as the best player on the Celtics team. To your point, a lot of the points that Jaylen Brown were able to put up was in large part due to transition play. Now, were some of those because of the defense that he was providing? Yes, absolutely. But it wasn't like he didn't also benefit from Drew Holiday and Derek White being able to be in the passing lanes and create those opportunities for fast breaks, and then 2. A lot of his shots that he was knocking down were because the Dallas Mavericks were leaving him wide open in the corner willingly because he's the worst 3-point shooter on the Celtics. And then 2, that was Jason Tatum that was forcing them to double him. He was getting into the lane and kicking it out to Jaylen Brown rather routinely. So even in Jaylen Brown's incredible play, Jason Tatum played a big role in that. Also, Drew Holiday was able to benefit off of Jason Tatum's creation. Like Jason Tatum, if he didn't do anything else, he should have left you guys thinking, damn, when Jaylen Brown was struggling scoring wise, how did he look as a playmaker? It didn't look that special though. What about Jason Tatum? Jason Tatum actually looked rather competent, having to make driving kicks. And even when Dallas tried to make their doubling schemes look a little bit more complex, Jason Tatum was still converting.
But I don't think BRF is arguing that like Tatum's not the best player on Boston. I think he's just saying that Jaylen was the best player in the series.
No, but I'm saying he proved that this series. That's what I'm saying. He proved why he shouldn't be questioned this series. Because even when he was inefficient scoring wise, he was the rebounding, the tenacious defense on the same level of Jaylen Brown, and also the playmaking aspect.
I thought Tatum's defense was. Well, I thought it was a little inconsistent during this series.
That's fine. I'm not mad at that.
I thought it was inconsistent. I thought Jaylen and
I felt the same.
And Drew Holiday's defense was on another level, comparable to everyone.
Yes, Drew Holiday was the best defender this entire postseason.
Oh, not even close. Not even close.
Not even close.
But I don't think
it was close, but he was the best. He was the best.
I think Tatum, I think Tatum, it's not that he didn't do anything. And I don't think that's what anybody's arguing. I think I think Jaylen was just the best player in the series. Like just this series. I don't think I question whether Tatum's more
talented. But why?
I think he was the better playmaker. I think he was just the better defender. He was the better shot creator. He did more when it came to at times when Boston's offense kind of slowed down a little bit. He was able to make big shots and big moments. I'm not saying Tatum sucks. I just think in this series that Jaylen was the better player this series.
What did Jaylen Brown do on the playmaker front that leads you to believe that he was a better playmaker than Jason Tatum?
In the series,
for this series, I'm
talking. Anything I'm saying right now is relative to this past series that we just watched.
And I just explained it. I said like Boston's offense kind of slowed down, which in a way it got bogged down at times, which is one of the things that happened throughout the season. Like he was able to make big shots. He was able.
We're only talking about this series.
Yeah, just this series.
Okay.
Okay. That's it. I'm not saying he's the best player on Boston, period. Just this series. He was just able to make big shots and big moments and be a playmaker on both sides of the ball. He kind of did what we expected Tatum to do or to show.
But what? Okay, the problem
before though, we talked about how Tatum was there's no excuse for Tatum. He was in a position to be the man, guy. We all agreed on that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying he failed, but he wasn't the guy. Jaylen was. Just this series. Again, not arguing overall, like going into next season, but this series, Jalen was, and everybody agreed as to why he got the MVP trophy. He was the best player in the series. And I don't know how anybody can argue against that.
Because Jaylen Brown, literally, all right, on the playmaking front, Jaylen Brown was merely just a beneficiary of what Jason had. Because there's plenty of times in moments where Jaylen Brown will rack up multiple turnovers on like a consistent basis. I'm looking specifically at game 2, where the same game where he was exploding and he dropped like, I want to say he dropped like 12 or 11 within the second half. He also turned the ball over 4 times within the fourth quarter. And those were costly turnovers that forced Dallas to come back. Now, ultimately, they were able to close that game out in large part due to Jrue Holiday's big game play. But again, that goes to Jason Tatum's creation, because Jason Tatum isn't making the right play, diving towards the rim with the ball and kicking it out to Jrue Holiday in the corners. Those plays aren't created because Jaylen Brown wasn't creating those plays. And even in game 5, where you would say he only had 1 turnover, but he had I think it was 6 assists or something like that. All of those assists were relatively simple assists because the Celtics weren't, the Dallas Mavericks weren't doubling Jaylen Brown the same way they were doubling Jason Tatum. But when they decided to do so, Jaylen Brown was not able to take advantage. Jason Tatum was.
Okay. That's fair.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I have a feeling we're going to just argue in circles. So I don't think we're going to get anywhere with this, because I think there's a reason why Jalen got the MVP trophy and
I think he deserved the Finals MVP. But I don't think you winning the Finals MVP means that you were the best player. And I think Jason Tatum was the best player in the series, but I think Jaylen Brown deserved the Finals MVP because I know the voters. And I know the voters voted for Jaylen Brown because, truth be told, he was the best scorer on the Celtics for the entirety of this postseason, outside of game 4. Jason Tatum dug himself so deep of a hole in the first 2 games, or really the first 3 games. It was sort of hard for him to get out. And you saw Jason Tatum was trying to get that Finals MVP in game 5.
Yeah. Which leads me to my next question, guys. This was a gentleman's sweep, and hey, it really didn't last as long. We was hoping against hope. In the great words of Mortal Kombat, an impressive human trait. I'm touched, but we didn't get what we paid for. But hey, man, I gotta ask you this: is this the worst NBA Finals ever?
No.
I've seen the worst ever.
The worst
ever. No shot. No shot. That's the worst ever.
Yeah, I've seen.
No shot. That's the worst ever. I have. Yes. I mean, we gonna act like 2014 Spurs and Heat didn't happen.
Oh, no. That wasn't even a bad one though, was it?
Look. I get where you coming from, but when I see margin of victory record, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but if you would have watched those games, that was some beautiful basketball that we were watching, even when they were blowing the Heat out. Just watching how the ball movement, it didn't matter who was on the court. Tim Duncan, Marco Bellinelli, Danny Green, Tony Parker, Patty Mills. It didn't matter who was on the court.
I'm not talking about it from an execution standpoint from the San Antonio Spurs. I'm not talking about that at all, because the San Antonio Spurs execution of being able to execute the offense and their defense made that series watchable in my opinion, but still. But I mean, I'm trying to think of other series. Lord,
2007 Cavs versus the Spurs. I got to put that right up there, because that excuse my language, that shit was horrible. I mean, I thought they were going to at least win 1, but it's just like it and it got some of the. I would have thought that LeBron being in there, it being future versus current. I would have thought the ratings would have been up a little bit more higher, but that was one of the most lowest rated finals in history, which was because the casual fan didn't care about the San Antonio Spurs, which was a detriment to that organization.
Yeah.
The casual fan didn't care about the San Antonio Spurs, even with having the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James coming off of that crazy performance against Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. At the end of the day, the casual fan didn't care about the San Antonio Spurs, even though they were the dynasty of that time frame. It's a detriment to them because I don't care what anybody says. I love watching those San Antonio Spurs teams play ball because they were just the. If you just want to put like team basketball and the way you want to see a team execute, it was a San Antonio Spurs. They did everything the right way. I mean, everything just meshed perfectly with them, from Tim Duncan to Tony Parker to Manu Ginobili, and then just the depth pieces around it that they had. I mean, you kind of hate it, like the casual fan didn't care about the Spurs, but I mean that's how it was. But I mean, I think look. I'm not saying it because it wasn't right, but I just knew. I mean, that's just what the casual fan was thinking at the time. But it didn't surprise me that series ended in a sweep, though, because I mean, a team like the San Antonio Spurs is gonna know how to execute and beat a team like those Cleveland Cavaliers at the time. I mean, and they kind of took the approach of, okay, LeBron. I mean, you may get yours, but ain't nobody else gonna do anything. And that's exactly what they did. And then his shooting wasn't that great on top of that in the series, so it was just 4-0. Just they were just able to execute better and got to 4-0. So
I think I think why the reason why when the GOAT discussion or like the best players of all time, and everybody talks about Kobe and Bird and Magic and Jordan and LeBron, and I think why is Duncan never mentioned in that?
He is now.
He's getting it more. He's getting it more now.
He's getting it more now, but I think the lack of interest in the Spurs kind of hurt that a little bit. That argument, because Duncan should be in there. I mean, let's be honest. Like he's by far he's the greatest power forward of all time. His peers all think that. He's matches ring for ring with Kobe. And you could make an argument. Now, I'm not saying this is the case, but you can make an argument that Duncan was the best player of that era over Kobe. You could make that argument. So
he was.
I think he was.
I feel that way too. I think, and this is going to be blasphemy, but I think Kobe, as much as he's beloved, I think he's
overrated.
I think because of the tragic circumstances, I think his level of where he is in the pantheon of everybody is kind of overinflated a little bit. I don't think he's overrated in a sense. I just think tragic circumstances usually tend to overdo things.
Nobody was willing to put Kobe in GOAT conversations until the moment he passed away.
That's true.
Before he passed away, Kobe Bryant was solidified in top 10, maybe even top 5, but it would have been 5th. Nobody before he passed away was willing to put him in GOAT conversations with the likes of Michael Jordan and at the time Kareem. Nobody was doing that.
Even after he repeated?
Even after he retired, OG, I talked to plenty of old heads. Shout out to Chilltown. Before he passed away, Kobe was not in these conversations.
No,
Casual's right. I agree.
I think Kobe
not in these conversations.
I think Kobe is like, if I were to rank all time players, I in my opinion, I'm putting Duncan over Kobe, which puts Kobe outside of the top 6 or 7. Ish.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you rank him, Casual? Go ahead. I want to hear your take on it.
Oh no, Kobe's 5th for me all time.
5th for you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Tim Duncan's 3rd.
Oh.
Wow.
You have a 3?
Time out. I got to hear this.
Okay. Oh.
Why is this a hot take? Oh,
honestly,
you never heard this?
I've never heard people put Tim Duncan that high. But I'm not gonna argue with it. I just never heard it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just shocked because usually the consensus 4 or 5-ish in any order is Jordan, Bird, Magic, Kareem, and LeBron.
Well, Bird, if I'm correct. I could check my list to make sure, but Bird is outside of my top 10, and Magic is like 10th.
Okay, Captain, man.
Wow.
I have to hit this top 10, man. I gotta hit this top 10.
How is Bird out of your top 10?
Yeah. Bird's not in top 10.
Casual. Come on.
Bird not in the top 10. I ain't never even. Wow, do I even want to hear this list?
Like I can see Bird at like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Damn. Before LeBron, he was the greatest small forward of all time.
Yeah, and it wasn't even
close. Shit.
No.
It wasn't even close.
And you can still make an argument like if you were in a series, who would you take, Bird or LeBron? And I can make a pretty good argument for Bird.
Yeah, I make a damn good argument for Bird.
Yeah.
I make a damn good argument for Bird.
Yeah.
But I want to hear this list.
I thought I was a Duncan. I thought I was a Duncan stamp, but wow.
Okay. Can you hear? Okay, can you hear?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
List, man. And let's not interrupt him. Let's hear it, Casual.
My top 10.
Yeah, let's hear the top 10. This being clipped before you say it. I just want you to know this.
Okay. Just go put me on the hot spot. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
My criteria for my top 10, by the way, guys, is I'll just say the top 10 and then I'll let you guys free will. Okay, so at 1 I got LeBron, 2 I have Michael Jordan, 3 I have Tim Duncan, 4 I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 5th I have Kobe Bryant, 6th I have Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar. Not Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon. 7th I have Shaquille O'Neal. 8th I have Magic Johnson. 9th I have Curry. 10th I have Bill Russell.
It's not a crazy top 10.
It's not a crazy top 10, but Bird gotta be in there, man.
I mean, is it mine? No, but at the same time, I like healthy discussions without tearing somebody else's list down, because I think we get into that with too many people want to tear other people's opinions and list down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Wait, hold on a second. I want to write.
Do you have him at 11 though?
I have no. I have Wilt at 11th. I have Larry Bird at 12th.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay. So wait, hold on a second. So LeBron 1, MJ 2, Duncan 3. Who's 4, 5, 6, and 7?
Kareem, Kobe, Hakeem, and Shaq.
Kareem, Kobe, Hakeem, and Shaq. 6, 7. All right. So if I have this correct, LeBron 1, MJ 2, Duncan 3, Kareem 4, Kobe 5, Hakeem 6, Shaq 7, Magic 8, Curry 9.
No, Curry 9, and then Bill Russell 10.
Bill Russell 10.
You know what? I can't be mad at that list, man.
No, you can't.
I really can't. Although I'm a Laker fan, I always pay homage to the great Larry Bird, because the thing is, he did help with Magic Johnson in order to save the league. But Larry Bird's in my top 10. But I do have to ask you this question. I have to put you on the spot one more time, Kaz. This will be the last time I ever do it to you. Okay. Why? I want you to educate everybody on why you put LeBron over Michael. Because the thing is this, a lot of people are going to make that 6 championships argument, which is really, to me, kind of obsolete. Because the thing is, players don't win championships, in my humble opinion. Teams win championships. And I just want to hear from you, why do you have LeBron over Jordan at this point? Now, like I said, this is not a hot take. I just want to know your honest opinion, since you're the basketball expert.
When it comes to LeBron James, LeBron has developed his game to a standard of where his impact is in a multitude of ways. He diversified his game to where he can be literally an entire offense unto himself. And although Michael Jordan could say the same to the length that LeBron was able to do so, especially during his second stint in Cleveland, Michael Jordan has never seen that level of impact individually, and I stand on that. I think defensively, Michael Jordan is probably like a top 5 guard of all time, but LeBron James peaks at the top 5 player all time defensively. I think LeBron James' playmaking and passing ability is second to only Magic Johnson. And I also think longevity wise, I think by the time we got to LeBron's fourth championship with Anthony Davis, he had provided enough years with enough playoff translation to justify him being looked at as the GOAT.
That is fair. I always say this, and I'll be very, very honest with you. To me, Jordan is the GOAT. To me, you know, and that's a little bit of old school nostalgia bias. I will openly admit that, but I always
it's
tell
not
people
biased.
this.
It's legitimate. It's legitimate.
Yeah, but I have to be honest. It's a little bit of old school bias because I saw Jordan I saw Jordan grow, and I saw Jordan become this onslaught. I mean, I saw Jordan run through Shaq and Penny. I saw Jordan run through Patrick Ewing and those guys. I saw Jordan literally, they was just running through guys like bad diarrhea. So I saw that myself firsthand. So that is the reason why he's the GOAT. Now, out of that same mouth, I will say this. If I don't have anybody on my team and I need to make the finals within the next 4 years, I'm picking LeBron. Because I've seen him personally bring out the best in some of the most no-name. Hell, you could have put me on there. I could have averaged 10 points with LeBron. I'm just gonna be real. And my jump shot went on vacation after Magic Johnson retired. And I'm just gonna be real. I was just a foul guy when I was playing small forward. I'm just gonna keep it 100. But hell, LeBron could have probably put me in position to get 10 points a game and got me paid like he did Tristan Thompson. So, I mean, if I had to pick one player that I'm going to revolve a franchise around out of Jordan and LeBron, it has to be LeBron, especially if I got to get to the finals quick. But in my humble opinion, Jordan's the GOAT. But what says you, Flash?
My one viral-ish video on my TikTok is saying why I think Jordan is a GOAT and why I don't think it's even close. It kind of goes back to my argument about GOATs in general. Like, I am a huge Tom Brady fan. I'm no joke. The man was literally in a joke in my wedding vows. Like, that's how big of a Tom Brady fan I am. And I was unwilling to put him over Montana until he cleared him in rings. Like, and I'm not talking about tied. I'm talking about cleared him, like got to 5. And, you know, so here's, and it's not just the 6 ring argument. I think Casual's right where LeBron's defense at its peak is better than Jordan's at its peak because he was able to LeBron, depending on the era, like later in the era, he technically would be able to guard 1 through 5, depending. Like if Draymond's the 5, he can guard the 5. So I think at his peak and his ability to guard like that many positions, yes, but he wasn't a consistent enough defensive player where Jordan was year in and year out. The other thing too is that Jordan's impact on not only the game but pop culture, it's like his thing, like what he did can't be surpassed. It's almost impossible because like the whole reason there's a sneaker culture is because of Michael Jordan. The whole like when you hear players, whether they be like new, like guys that played right after him, or even guys like Tina, nobody when LeBron walks in the room, there's not an audible gasp. When Jordan walks into a room, there's an audible gasp. Like he is like LeBron's not called basketball Jesus by his peers. Jordan is. There's just this different thing. Not, and again, it's but I mean, yes, the championships.
Oh, we're getting into aura talk. Okay,
but that's
because I was lost a little bit, but it's aura.
That's part of it. It's not just the 6 titles, but it's the ability to win 3 titles, go play another pro sport, then come back and be like, yeah, it was cute that you guys were like, while I was gone, and then win 3 more. It's the winning the MVP, the scoring title, and defensive player of the year. Like, twice, 3 times he did that. So like, I just think, and then there's a reason why LeBron wears MJ's pajamas. Jordan doesn't wear anybody else's pajamas.
What?
What I'm saying is, like, LeBron wears number 23 not because that's his number. He wears it because of Michael Jordan.
And I don't.
No, it's kind of like a joke. It's just like when you say Superman wears Chuck Norris underwear.
I thought we were being serious.
It's kind of like
I
that.
thought we were being serious.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying though is like you're not like nobody's like tipping over like end tables to go get Jordan shoes. I'm sorry, LeBron shoes. Like it's just a thing. It's just like he has such a huge impact on not only
aura talk.
I know, but it's not just the game. It's his game. It's the aura on top of it. Like you can't. It's almost like it's you can't surpass that. Like you would have to like LeBron would have had to have gotten to 6 rings for there have been to an argument among their peers, at least a more consistent one. So it's just a different thing. I don't know how to explain it. Like my nephew, on my old podcast that I used to do, my nephew was as big of a LeBron fan as I am a Tom Brady fan. And then they watched him and his buddy watched The Last Dance, and they understood like what I was trying to argue when that argument would come up. And I just don't think LeBron can ever pass that. I think he's number 2 in my list. I think he's number 2, or you can make you could interchange between him and Kareem as number 2 and 3, and I wouldn't be upset either way. And I think you can do Bird, Magic, and whoever after that. But I just think Jordan's it's just a thing. I don't know how to describe it any better than I just did. Like it's his aura.
It's his aura.
It's his aura.
Yeah, that's why he's go, because anything else that you could say, because it wasn't, even if LeBron he wasn't able to last longer in the defensive department like Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan didn't last. Michael Jordan was able to give you multiple all defensive caliber seasons because he was able to take a break. LeBron was not able to take a break. Not only that, he had to manage the entire offense. Michael Jordan had the privilege of having a head coach that infiltrated his game and allowed a system to essentially take away multiple responsibilities for him. Not a knock to him. It's excellence at his finest. It maximized who Michael Jordan is, and that's a large part of why Phil Jackson is credited as one of the greatest head coaches of all time. But in LeBron James' case, LeBron has gone from team to team through no fault of his own, and he's had to take on responsibilities of managing an entire offense.
But is that
under multiple conditions?
So I think the comparison,
and he's done so rather exceptionally, like all times level exceptionally.
I think this is where I think the argument is. So I know recently there was a discussion on I think PSP's podcast about Rodgers versus Brady. Okay. Yeah. You just brought up that LeBron had to run the whole office. Is part of that is that part of that is because he was not enough of a good soldier to let a coach do coaching?
That is not true. That is not true. That is not true.
He's asking.
I'm just saying, like, it is it because I mean we can go back to Miami and him and Wade wanted to get rid of Spoelstra after the first year, and Riley told
Eric Spoelstra wasn't the head coach that he turned out to be post 2015.
Doesn't matter. It
does matter. It does matter because Phil Jackson Phil Jackson, and really to tell you the truth, we're gonna be honest with ourselves. This is why I don't credit Phil Jackson to be the GOAT, the greatest coach of all time, because it wasn't his philosophy that he introduced to the Chicago Bulls. It was Tex Winters. So Tex Winters really should deserve the credit, but even still, there was no Tex Winters that was on that Miami unit. Eric Spoelstra had to figure it out. Eric Spoelstra had to come back the next year. Eric Spoelstra had to come back the next year and say, you know what, with the personnel we have, let's run small ball lineup. And that's as far as he was able to go with a level of creativity on his philosophy, which albeit phenomenal idea because it paid dividends. They won 2 championships, but that ultimately was on the strength of the fact that they went small ball, which was unheard of at the time. So they were running faster than everybody. And on top of that, they were just out talenting everybody except the San Antonio Spurs ultimately.
But how do
After that, Eric Spoelstra had to develop some type of defensive and offensive philosophy that could be able to make his way throughout the league. Otherwise, he was going to get fired.
how can you say he didn't have a Tex Winters when you literally had Pat Riley behind him the whole way?
Wait, say it again. He did not. Pat Riley was not involved in none of the schemes that you saw in the Miami Heat unit. And from 2011 onward, did you ever see in a Pat Riley led offense? You didn't see that with the Lakers. No, you didn't.
With the Lakers? You mean the Heat?
No. I'm saying when Pat Riley was a coach.
Oh no, I'm talking about like when Spoelstra was the coach for the Heat. You're saying that he didn't have anybody. Like he had Pat Riley behind him the whole time running the organization.
And the most that Pat Riley did, and Pat Riley even said this, was support him. He wasn't going to hold his hand. He was trying to let him grow in his own skin. That's why Eric Spoelstra was able to come up with something that was with a defensive scheme that to this day has now become revolutionary for a lot of these teams, which is a switch-heavy defense. That was Eric Spoelstra that pushed that even further. So before that, nobody was doing that. But that took him having to be on his own.
So then my question, but we're kind of getting away from the argument because right now, like LeBron's been at the point right now, like what are the Lakers are on their 4th coach now already.
And but why is that on LeBron? The fact that they keep bringing in rookie head coach after rookie head coach.
How is he not the reason?
Because
you're
quite literally, he asked for Ty Lue, and they didn't give him Ty Lue. They lowballed Ty Lue.
Ty Lue wasn't going to leave the situation he's in anyways.
No. This is before he even got with the Clippers. They asked for Ty Lue. Ty Lue was even willing to come to LA to coach LeBron again. But he had one simple request. He asked for his own coaching staff. The Lakers said no.
To be honest,
is that giving LeBron what he wanted?
In fairness to what Cash was saying, and I'm a Laker fan, the Lakers have been in disarray. They haven't had any coaching stability since damn Phil Jackson, and that's not a warning, and that's not a question. That is the fact. And the Lakers have been in a hell of a lot more disarray than they ever was, even before LeBron got there. Even with Kobe, they was changing coaches like people change their draws. So I mean, I don't credit LeBron. I'm not going to put that on LeBron. But
why? But like, why is Frank Vogel gone?
Frank Vogel's gone because they went into new ownership, and the owner did not want him there. By the time what's her name, Jeannie Buss got there, Frank Vogel wasn't her guy. She gave that man 2 years. And after he got that losing season with Russell Westbrook on the unit, what do they typically do when it's time to fire somebody? Are they gonna fire the team? Are they gonna fire the player? Or they gonna fire the coach? Which one are they doing first?
No, they should have fired the GM.
They should have fired everybody in that front office. That's what they should have done.
Fired the front office.
Shadow owners, but to my point, all of those shadow owners that the Los Angeles Lakers have, I mean, advising Jeannie Buss, I mean, that's just one of the things that's killing that team in the first place. You got too many damn cooks in the kitchen.
The thing and the fact that they just gave JJ Redick a 4-year contract.
We'll get to that.
Hold on. Go ahead, OJ. I'm sorry.
We'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, I think to Flash's point, man, to Casual's point, hey, the Lakers was in disarray long before that. They, like I said, they had Byron Scott, Mike Brown. They had a little bit of everybody. I mean, after Phil Jackson, it was just coaching change after coaching change after coaching change. That is enough. And I'm a Laker fan. That is enough to piss you off beyond no avail, because that's the reason why we can't have it. That's the reason why we don't have any free agents coming. We haven't had a big time free agent outside of LeBron. I'm talking about a big time free agent that we knew this is going to put us all the time. We haven't had that big guy since Ron Artest. We haven't had that guy since him, outside of LeBron, I would say. You know, but the thing is this. The Lakers organization has been in disarray long before LeBron got there. This is them holding on to glory. They did the same. And what's so funny about that? History is repeating itself. They did the same damn thing with Kobe
in 2009, 2010.
Yes, after 2009, 2010, it was all about a reload. I mean, it's like a get rich quick scheme. They're trying to get rich quick and then keep losing money. So my thing is with that, I don't blame LeBron for that at all. I blame the front office.
Okay,
but this is why
that's where coaches come to die. Because the thing is this, there used to be a time where you as the coach of the Lakers was kind of like being the coach of the damn Cowboys.
Yeah, it was.
It was prestige. You were the coach. You knew what the hell you were doing. Nowadays, hell, I could go out there and coach the damn Lakers. Hey, Stephon Pryor, he's not a coach of the Lakers. 5 years, $8 million. Damn, I ain't coached no damn ball since I was 16. But that's how bad the Laker organization is right about now. So I don't blame it on LeBron. Now, to Flash's point, right now, I would say this. Eric Spoelstra had to do the same thing that Pat Riley did in Los Angeles. He had to your point, Casual, he had to figure it out. But the thing is, they already had a hell of a team as it is. So he had to figure out how to maximize that Showtime offense that they had because they damn sure wasn't using it when the previous coach was there. So they had to figure it out.
Agreed.
So my thing is, hey, when coaches have to figure it out, that's when they're at their best. And you saw what Eric Spoelstra became after the fact as well, when he didn't have as much talent on that team as the big three. You saw what
but OG, that's my point. Like when we're looking at these players, it's about the situation that they're in, the environment that they're in. Michael Jordan was able to be so dominant because the front office was able to put him around a defensive player of the year caliber wing in Scottie Pippen. He was able to put him with multiple, with between Dennis Rodman and Horace Grant, with multiple fours that gave the versatility that was required in that era of the NBA. Multiple point guards that serviced what Michael Jordan needed, which was shooting and playmaking. And Ron Harper, Steve Kerr, what's my guy's name? John Paxson, and BJ Armstrong. Even they were able to make that understand what was needed. They were also able to understand what coaches needed to be there to be able to assist Michael Jordan in maximizing who he was as a player. In LeBron James' case, LeBron has showed that he's able to win in under many circumstances. He played in Miami. They asked him to play off ball and allow D-Wade to create for him, and he was able to do so. He went to Cleveland, played more on ball, was able to turn into more of a offensive maestro. He won a championship in that way. He even came back 3-1 in that way. He went to Los Angeles and had become more of a playmaker than just a scorer, and he was able to do that. He's done it in under many circumstances, under many different environments that we can understand, like given the competition. And I don't think anybody would disagree here that the competition that LeBron has gone up against has been a little stiffer than Michael Jordan's in the 90s. LeBron James has still excelled.
Finals, yes. Conference, no. Finals, yes. Conference, no.
Yes, conference, no. I'll agree with BRF on that too.
Yes.
Finals, yes. Conference, absolutely not.
No, I agree. I think LeBron's road has been much easier than Michael Jordan to the finals. But once he got to the finals, he went up against typically the best team that the league had to offer outside of the team that he was on.
Outside of the team that he was on.
Yes.
I also think I look. A lot of LeBron's like denting in his legacy is a little bit is because he's had a hand, and not in all, but in a lot of putting together of these rosters. I wouldn't say the Lakers roster. I think that's the Lakers being the Lakers.
Yeah.
Except for when he got there in the trade for Anthony Davis. I think that was spearheaded by LeBron at the time. I think a lot of the moves after that, like bringing in Westbrook, I don't think that was a LeBron move. I think that was
that's a typical Laker move if people don't.
Yeah,
I think they're looking for big names and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
My bad, Flash.
No, you're good.
They're bringing in big names, and that's why we damn losing right about now.
Yeah, that's atypical of the Lakers of just bringing in big for the sake of bringing in big names, but I do think that in other circumstances that LeBron's had a hand in building the rosters around him, and which goes against the, what he and that'd be fair. Because I was going to make an argument that he's not a good soldier. When he was a good soldier in Cleveland his first time around, they put trash around him for the most part. So I will give him, and the fact that I probably wouldn't trust GMs either after that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To be honest with you, man, I always say this, man. I compare. People always talk about how. And I ended on this note before we go into the next segment. People always talk about how LeBron always went from team to team, but I do not. One team that I don't blame him for leaving first was Cleveland, because the thing is, in 2010, after Kobe went back to back, the whole damn league was damn near free agency at that point. The whole league. And when you think about it, a little bit of everybody, and you didn't go after anyone in that point in time. So that's more of an indictment on the front office rather than LeBron, because hell, if you are I think of this is how I look at the NBA. I look at the NBA like a job. I look at the NBA like a job. If you're the only one producing, and you can't depend on no damn body, eventually you're gonna get the hell up out of there. Like, you ain't finna work my ass to death. You're not gonna work me to death. And and I'll be crawling around at the age of 40. You're not gonna work me to death. So I look at that. I'm not a casual fan. I look at the NBA. Look, this is a job. If you're not gonna put everything on my shoulders and then blame me for every little thing, and then, oh, why are you going somewhere else? Yeah, because you're working me to death. I can't survive like this. You're working me 90 hours a damn week. Now I got to sit back there and I got to do something else every single week. I got to go out there and produce every single week. Nobody else around me is producing. So guess what? Hey, rather than do that, I'm going to go and put myself around someone that's going to get the help around me. And guess what? I don't mind nobody becoming a general manager. Hell, I'm going to just be real. Hell, Shaq became his own general manager when he went to Los Angeles. Granted, it was for a shit ton of money, but guess what? He was a general manager. But hey, when he left Los Angeles Lakers, he asked to go back to Miami. When he went from Miami and went to Phoenix, he asked to go to Phoenix. So,
and I want to throw LeBron a bone a little bit too, which is something I rarely do. Well, I think he'd still be in Cleveland if Kyrie wouldn't have been such a big baby and wanted to get out on his own.
Yes.
So
I don't think he was being a big baby though. The front office was wanting to trade him. He got word of it after they lied to him and told him that they weren't looking to trade him, because they ultimately tried to use him in a trade to get Paul George there.
Oh.
He felt some type of way about that, and I don't think there was anything wrong with feeling. I've seen people in Atlanta, shout out to John Collins, that are forced to stay on a roster that is actively trading him in his face.
Yes.
And they're forced to just sit there and take it. So I'm not blaming a superstar if you use your leverage to tell a team, hey, I'm hurt. You expect me to play, but you over here trying to trade me to another team. Either trade me to the destination I want to go, or I'm not playing.
And at the time,
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
And at the time, there was smoke that LeBron was behind, like, pushing that trade.
He was trying to do that as well. Yes.
So maybe that bone I need to take back, because that was kind of like on LeBron too. Because I
yes, he played a role in that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah. So I mean, but I just want to say this, OG. When I'm discussing my top 10, my criteria has to be taken into account. A lot of times when I'm talking about these teams, I'm talking about the impact of the players. I value how long those players were able to play at a high level. I value what did that prime look like. I value how long you were able to sustain that level of excellence. Were you able to transfer that level to excellence into the postseason? Not necessarily skill, just how impactful you were at the game of basketball. And when I look at that, LeBron James' longevity, along with the impact that comes with that longevity, it triumphed Michael Jordan, really, to be honest with you, after the 2018 postseason. But by 2020, it became rather clear to me his longevity is just undeniable. And I just want to add this, and this is a hot take that people ain't gonna be happy to hear. But the longer LeBron plays, the closer we get. Well, no, at this point, LeBron has already cemented himself. By 2022, LeBron had already erased any argument you can make for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being the GOAT. Kareem has no case at this point. Because the main argument for Kareem is longevity, really just longevity, because he didn't even play at that high of a level for like nearly as long as some of these other stars that they're going to give him credit to. But niggas will give him a pass because he was winning championships and he played a big part of that. But LeBron passed that when he won the championship in 2020. And by the time we got to 2022, there's no argument. The only GOAT talks that we can have is between MJ and LeBron. Everybody else is in their own. They like go somewhere else.
That I agree.
BRF, you got the thing, man.
Man, honestly, I've been listening to y'all, and y'all been making good points. But yeah, I do want to add in. I don't know. I've always kind of been on that, like, because it's kind of partly how I was introduced to TikTok was like the whole LeBron Mike thing. Because I mean, you know, he probably hardly agree with me, but shout out Boone the Sports God. One of my first introductions was getting it with him as far as like, you know, you're trying to disprove Michael Jordan at every angle. But saying that
we got one of those.
but yeah, boy, I'm telling you, man, those videos was classics. You'd have to scroll back at the beginning of my profile to find those videos. But saying that, I've always been on the case of I have Mike as my GOAT. But if LeBron is your GOAT, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh man, you're wrong, because I mean, LeBron had, like, I agree, like they are the only two players that have any argument to being called the greatest in the history of the sport. They're the only two players, and that's how it should be at this point. I've always felt like with Mike, it was, I don't know, it's just, I always felt like his peak, and I know everybody gets on that whole, well, everybody treats Michael Jordan like he only played those 6 seasons where he won those championships, and they forget about the other 9 or whatnot. It's like, man, if you go back through the other 9, like in particular, like those mid-late 80 seasons, like 86, 87, 88, where he was like 33 in a year here, 37 here, 35 here, but yet still being able to put up 6-7 rebounds, like 6 assists, and just I think what does kind of hurt him in a way was those years in the East where it was like a lot of those Bulls teams were not that good. Dude, and they would make the playoffs just out of attrition. Like they'd be like under 500, and they would make the playoffs because the Eastern Conference was just like, yeah, you know. So I think that's one thing that people do like to use against them. But I mean, it's like I just look at it from the standpoint like when Michael finally hit that evolution to become what he was like in the early 90s throughout, it's like I think a lot of fans try to penalize him for being the big bad wolf in that era. But I mean, he was. I mean, he's the reason why a lot of their favorite players don't have rings. And I mean, you can't hold that against. I mean, people can't hold that against him because he was the measuring stick, and nobody could jump over the measuring stick to get a ring. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do at the end of the day, which was win those championships and still be still be the best player he could possibly be. What I appreciate about LeBron, though, what I always appreciated about him, because I feel like offensively scoring wise, I mean, it's not. I mean, even though he has the 40,000 points, the 10,000 boards, the 10,000 assists, which people need to stop sleeping on. That is an accomplishment beyond itself. People need to stop sleeping on that. But I will say, what I appreciate about LeBron is just it's not just his growth offensively as a scorer, but just I don't know. I think the best part about LeBron James' game is his versatility offensively and defensively. And the fact that he's still really been able to maintain that, age 37, age 38, approaching 40. I think that's something you really can't sleep on. You really can't sleep on with him because at first it's like at first I didn't even know I appreciated the longevity argument. I always kind of looked at what Michael Jordan did in those 15 years he played and being able to hit the peaks he hit offensively, scoring the ball, all the records he set, all the things he did, whether it was regular season or playoffs, and just like I guess part of his aura talk, but even still, just like a lot of the peaks that Michael hit and just some of the things he did, whether it was 30-point games, 40-point games, 50-point games. But then I look at LeBron, and then I just look at just even though like the scoring peak may not have hit Jordan, it's the steadiness for me. Just the knowing he's going to give you 26, 7, and 7 on a yearly basis. I mean, it's just I've grown to learn and appreciate the fullness of his game, which is why I don't know. I struggle with it more. But the reason why I still say Mike is because when he grew to a level of like being the best player, of being the guy you had to catch in order to get it done, and you couldn't get it done, I guess that was kind of it. That was kind of one of the deciding factors for me, because just the Charles Barkleys, the Patrick Ewings of the world, the Reggie Millers of the world, just all these great Hall of Fame players, nothing because of Mike. And I guess that's where it kind of like, that's where one of the big determining factors for me was just him just kind of being that, I hate to say kind of being that grim reaper, but if you want to call it that. So I guess it's kind of where I stand on that.
I just want to ask a question to you, BRF. Just real quick.
No, you good, bro. Go ahead, bro.
No, I just want to ask you a question. Is it fair to say that the reason why Michael Jordan was able to be the Grim Reaper within the league was because by the time he got to the finals, most of the top 20 players that we would concede were primed to contest Michael Jordan's crown, didn't make it to the NBA Finals because they went through a hell of a battle in the Western Conference.
You can make, because at that time, I feel like you can kind of make that case, because you could kind of say in the 90s the Western Conference was just. The Western Conference was just like you could say it was a murderer's row of teams. It was a murderer's row of teams. So I guess you can. So you
had the Phoenix Suns.
The Phoenix Suns. You had the Phoenix Suns. Utah's, Seattle Supersonics, Portland Trailblazers. So you can make that case.
I kind of want to point out like he went up against Malone and Stockton twice. He went against Barkley in Barkley's MVP season.
By the time Malone and Stockton got to the NBA Finals, the Western Conference was relatively over. Hakeem was out of his prime.
I'm just saying like when it comes to like.
And then don't get me started with my John Stockton and Karl Malone issues. But I hear you. Though.
They're still in the greats of all time.
Yeah. Are they?
I'm sorry, their perspective position. One of the greatest duels. Yeah, you can't take that.
You can say that the top 75 as long as they're in your 70s. It's okay. It's okay. We can carry on.
Let's move on.
We can carry on, man.
Let's move on. Let's go to the chat real quick. PSP, my main man. Hey, make sure y'all stay tuned. Tomorrow night, I call PSP the highlight of Friday nights for a reason, man. LL Cool J out. LL Cool J video out right now. BRF and Champ were great. Hey, appreciate it, PSP, man. Hey, look, make sure y'all go look at that show tomorrow and check him out on YouTube as well. Like and subscribe. And I will answer his next two questions during this next segment.
Wow, he didn't answer my question. He didn't answer my question last Friday.
Don't do that.
He didn't answer that question.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But what question? I want to hear that real quick. What question?
You just have to start shit, don't you?
Yeah. No, I asked him a simple start bench cut.
Don't do
that. Come on, Sam. Let him get it. I want to hear it. Get it out real quick. I want to hear it.
No. Go ahead. Carry on, man.
Oh man. Okay.
All right. So we got a new coach out there in Los Angeles. I'm gonna just be real. I'm gonna go first on this. I gotta say my piece on this.
Yes, sir.
Look, I'm not happy about it. And back to PSP's point, and I have to read this. Would I have wanted Monty Williams? Yes. Monty Williams was a proven coach. He was a proven coach. And he not only had the number 1 seed with the Phoenix Suns, he also led them to not only a conference finals, but the NBA finals. Although he lost, hey, Monty Williams is a hell of a coach. So I wanted someone who was proven at the time, who was going to bring some stability to that franchise. I think Monty Williams should have did that. Look, I'm going to say this. LA, look at my flapping gums. Y'all have got to stop hiring these run-of-the-mill coaches. You have to stop. It's got to damn stop. Because the thing is, you're firing these guys at the rate of once every 2 years. You're sitting around here. You're not bringing the correct coach in to fit your system. And eventually, it's going to take toll on the franchise. The fans are going to lose interest and lose hope in it. Because
They've
the thing
already
is,
lost hope.
Because the thing is, I don't think they lost hope fully. Because if you really look at it, and I hate to say this because I'm a Laker fan too, and I'm guilty of it. Laker fans are just as delusional, or not more, than.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
The Dallas
No, they
Cowboys
not. No, they're
Bull
not.
jive.
No, the
Yes,
Clippers
I knew you
are.
were
The
about to say
Clippers
that.
are. The Clippers are. Y'all could never be as delusional as the Clippers.
The Clippers just now got delusional. The Lakers fans been delusional. I'll never forget doing free agency for all of those years doing Kobe's last couple of years. We're gonna get this guy, and we ain't get nobody but Carlos.
That was good
and
times.
Jeremy
Good
Lin.
times.
I mean, hey,
Good times.
Laker fans have been damn delusional.
You remember when they put that billboard? You remember they put that billboard for KD to come over there? Oh man, that was nice.
Laker fans have been we're damn delusional about who we're gonna get in free agency. We're damn delusional about who we're going to get in free agency. We're damn delusional about the coaching. And I'm just not going to even lie. The minute that they got to the Western Conference Finals last year and faced Jokic, we've got to thinking, oh man, we could go a little bit up from there. No, we caught them by surprise, and that was the peak of what we could do. So Laker fans are just as good. And like I said, I am a delusional Lakers fan. You can't tell me nothing about the damn Lakers. I'm just going to be real. The minute free agency come, we get this guy, he's gonna put us over the top. We go get this guy. We go get this guy. And then comes to find out we don't do anything. So I mean, hey, I'm just gonna be real. But the thing is, the Lakers need to get some coaching stability. You need to get some front office stability. Coaching and front office stability. You have not had front office stability since Jerry West. Long live the king. Because guess what? When Jerry West was in that front office, you had stability in that front office. And it's evident he not only went to Memphis and succeeded there, but helped build a dynasty at the Golden State Warriors. Because I never forget when that Kevin Love and Klay Thompson trade came out, he told them flat out, hey, if you trade Klay Thompson, I'm resigning. And that is the begin, and that was the beginning of the dynasty at that point in time. So Lakers, I'm gonna tell you this. You better put somebody in that front office that knows what they're doing and get all of these shadow owners out of the way, all of these consultants out of the way. They're not doing anything but doing more harm than good. Secondly, you need to get you one hell of a coach in there. You should have got Monty Williams. We're going to see how JJ Redick does, because we've seen evidence of coaches who doesn't have any coaching experience that has succeeded. We saw Pat Riley, but granted, he was part of the organization. We saw him do some things. We saw Pat Riley. We saw Pat Riley. We saw Mike Dunleavy, and we saw Steve Kerr. Now, granted, those guys that I just mentioned, they were already headed to ready-made championship teams. But we've seen them succeed. But this is going to be interesting to see. But the thing is, I don't think.
But champ, the Lakers are a championship-ready team, aren't they?
They're about as ready for a championship as I am for a marathon. So I'm just being real. The Lakers are about as ready for a championship as I am for a damn marathon. And guess what? I just ran 3 miles today and didn't make it past the 1.5 mile mark. I walked my ass back home. So guess what? That's how ready the damn Lakers are. How far I am to be. They're about as ready as I am to go to the Boston Marathon, and that's just the power. And I'm not whistling Dixie when I say that. So get you some stability in that damn front office.
I'm sorry. My bad, bro. My bad, bro. Oh, God.
Get you some stability in that front office and get you some damn stability at that coaching position and stop trying to win immediately. Stop trying to win now. LA loves a winner, but they love a winner long term. They love dynasties. They love winners long term. One title is not going to satisfy the appetite for the Los Angeles Lakers. No more than one title is going to satisfy the appetite for the Dallas Cowboys. So guess what? You have to put yourself in the positions to win long term. You gutted your franchise in order to get LeBron, and I understand you're trying to get one big free agent because you haven't had one since Ron Artest. So guess what? You have to put someone in position in order to win. So guess what? It's time to stop bull jiving around and get you a real general manager. You need another Jerry West, which you're probably not going to get that sustained point of excellence, but you need a general manager that's strong-minded, and you need a coach that's strong-minded. So until you get that, Los Angeles, your behinds are going to continue to lose and be at the bottom of the totem pole. That's all I got. What you got, Flash?
If I more of a question, because I think we all agree that this hiring is kind of silly.
Oh no, I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, to me, it's silly. But who's the one person you would get rid of in the Laker organization to start turning it around?
Jeannie Buss,
Rob Pelinka, and all them damn shadow owners, all them consultants, and all them damn people up in the front office that's consulting Jeannie Buss. Get them out of there.
And then who would you hire?
Who would I hire? Well, the thing is, it would depend on who's available. So I have to go and see who's available. But the thing is, I would get rid of everybody in their front office right about now. I would get rid of. I mean, Mitch Kupchak, he did a damn good job as the general manager.
Hell no.
Yes, wait a minute. No. When he was allowed to do stuff, when he was allowed to make trades, when he was allowed to sign players.
I'll be copping pleas for Mitch Kupchak.
No, when he was up under Jim Buss and he fully took over that team, nothing happened. The architect of that second of those two Kobe championships was Mitch Kupchak. Got to give credit where credit is due.
Kupchak had control over there in Charlotte, and we see what he did. That nigga is stuck in his old
Jordan
way.
As an owner. When's the last time a free agent came to Charlotte?
Michael Jordan wasn't around this past season, and he made all the wrong moves. He traded for Grant Williams.
Bro, I mean, this is Charlotte we talking about, bro.
You can say he did poorly in Charlotte while still saying he did good in LA.
No, I'm not saying he didn't do good in LA. I'm saying, what have you done for me lately?
Okay, well,
that's terrible.
But that's not the argument right now.
No,
that is.
He did more for. He did more after Jerry West left the franchise. He did a hell of a lot for that franchise in order to put them back on top. He made the Gasol trade. He was able to get Ron Artest a free agent. He was able to get Trevor Ariza.
That was over a decade ago, OG.
Again, we're talking about what he did with the Lakers at that point in time. We're not talking about what he did with Charlotte. Because the thing is,
but Flash asked you, what are you switching Rob Pelinka out for now in 2024?
No. What am I switching? I have to see who's available at this point in time. I'm not for sure to see I'm not sure which general manager is available because I have to do my homework on that. But I would get rid of these guys.
It's not too many good ones that's available.
I mean, I would get rid of these guys. I mean, if you really want me to be honest, because they haven't been advising a damn thing for almost ever since. And there's been no attraction of free agents. That's not by accident. That there's no big free agents outside of LeBron has come to Los Angeles. That's not an accident because of the front office. So I would get rid of everybody in that front office, get rid of all these shadow owners and all of that, and make sure that we get these yes men up out of there that's ill-advised of Jeannie Buss. And my advice for Jeannie Buss is to do what Jerry Reinsdorf did. Hey, my job is to get people in here that knows what they're doing so I can get the hell out of the way in order to so they can get their jobs done. People can talk
Fire
about
Jeannie Buss, man.
well, you can't fire the damn owner. So
Man,
I mean,
please find a way. Find a way. Pass a bill or something.
you know, you can't
That's
fire
what
them.
they pass the bill, bro. Oh
You
my
know, you can't fire
god.
them. But the thing is, this has been, like I said, the whole Buss family outside of the great Dr. Buss, it's been futile ever since he passed. I think that, I mean, if you want to equate
And
it to
Jeannie
something,
is the root of all of it.
well, Jim Buss was the catalyst for them back.
He was terrible. He was, trust me,
He
no,
was
trust
terrible.
me.
He
He
was terrible.
he was so terrible. But even Jeannie is like just as bad. They need to if I'm
The
if
thing is,
there's
they need to get
anything,
out of
if
that
there's
way.
if you care at all about your father's legacy, you will pass the ownership off to somebody, or at least a percentage of ownership, enough for them to have control to hire, within the front office.
You just have to.
You will do what was necessary for you to make this right for your father's sake. This is horrendous. The decision making, like the best decision they made was Anthony Davis, and the collateral damage that's come about is like this has been a travesty.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is, like I said, this is not the Buss's first rodeo. They did the same thing with Kobe, trying to build quick, trying to get rich quick, and then end up losing in the first and the second round of the playoffs when he was there. It's history repeating itself without the great Dr. Buss. So
Hell yeah.
the thing is, you got to get these guys up out of there because they're doing more harm than good.
Agreed.
They're doing
That
more
being said, though,
harm
this
than
is
good.
this is a great hire.
I mean, the thing is, I don't see how this is going to benefit you. You're literally hiring the same guy that your star player does podcast with.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
I love this.
Whatever happened to conflict of interest?
Nah, say the curse word. I heard it. I heard
whatever
about
happened to conflict of interest? So the thing
conflict
is,
of fucking interest.
whatever happened to that? You can't keep the star player. No, you guys left. You can't keep the star player on the same team with the guy he's for on the same. You can't have your star player's drinking partner to be his coach.
How does this?
Look, you can't tell me about dysfunction. My team hired a head coach literally a week after they fired the head coach that they ended up hiring was consulting.
That coach at least had a damn rap sheet in order to go and do something. He at least had a damn championship, although they've been holding on to that.
They've been holding on to that for like 16 years.
Like I said, y'all talking about this. Y'all talking about dysfunction. Y'all got a whole ass.
He ain't made it out of the second round since he won that championship.
So the thing is, at least he had a rap sheet for saying, okay, you can at least get a little something out of it. We don't know what the hell JJ Redick can do. He hasn't even been a coach.
I'm with you. That's why I think this is a great hire, though.
Like the Golden State Warriors was when they fired Mark Jackson and then hired Steve Kerr. This team is not championship ready like that.
OG, you gotta relax. You have
to bring someone in. Monty Williams would have been the perfect coach in order to bring in. He has a proven rap sheet. He can work with the veterans. And guess what? Hey, you probably could have got him for cheap, depending on the nature of that contract that he just got fired out of.
Bruh, he got a $65 million buyout. They could have got him for cheap.
Exactly. So guess what? You missed out on a lot of ways. So guess what? So Laker fans have been patient trying to get another championship, and you reward us by hiring the star player's drinking partner on the podcast. That's just like me. No, that's just like me. Look, that's just like me hiring fans to be the CEO of the company that I work for. Like, how do you?
Y'all gotta take it easy. This is a great hire.
Yeah.
I want to know why you're saying this is a great hire.
I love this hire. This is a phenomenal hire.
I
love it.
He being sarcastic as hell, but keep it pushing.
No, I'm being serious, man. I love this hire. Now do it. Now let's do it.
Go ahead.
Let's blow this shit up. Let's blow this up. That's all. That's all
Exactly.
Yeah, I love this hire. Now,
Exactly.
I love this hire. Now, let's
Uh,
blow this shit up. Let's come on. Let's start this.
Because you know
Hey.
they're going to go draft.
what you got, man?
I've been ready for this. I've been ready for this for the last like 2 years now. Let's blow this shit up.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly. That's why he said it's a great hire because people finna go.
Yeah, niggas finna get up out of here, OG. That you getting too mad. You think they actually trying to win. They ain't trying to win.
No,
They trying to
No,
win.
not with
Get-
JJ
let's
Redick.
go.
No, they're not. No, they're
they're
not.
They're trying to put asses in those seats.
Yeah,
No.
that,
They
That's
trying
the
to.
problem. They're just trying to
No.
put asses in seats. That's how come you have certain players that has been on the Los Angeles Lakers for the past few years that didn't contribute to a damn thing, but yet because of their name, they're on the team.
Oh,
Yeah, but OG.
OG.
OG. The problem is you think that they trying to put asses in seats with winning championships. No, they trying to that's the Lakers that you knew. The Lakers now they're trying to reenact the Young and the Restless. That's what they're doing.
yeah, in Hollywood.
Now winning championships.
That's what they're doing.
What
The
they
Lakers
know.
are trying. No. What the Lakers are doing is they're trying to reenact the Young and the Restless. That's what they're doing. They're putting asses in the seat with romance and
No,
and
because
drama.
You know what they're going to do? Here's the thing. So they just hired, LeBron's drinking buddy, and now and then they're going to go get his son too.
Yeah, bingo. Right. Tell me that ain't some drama. Tell me that ain't drama if you ever seen it.
Sorry about the French.
You might as well have.
Yeah.
Hey, you might as well have Vince Russo on there writing this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ow!
Yeah.
This man right here is exactly right. It's all about Hollywood drama now.
Bingo. They ain't trying to win championships. You thought they was trying to win? They ain't trying to win.
Because they're going to go draft his kid. You know they're going to go do it.
Yeah, you can't find this nowhere else, man. Only in LA, man. Only in LA.
Oh.
Like I said, you got Vince Russo up there running the damn
Oh.
creative. And I don't know what the hell they're doing at this point.
They're going to get his son.
Yeah, I'm telling you what they doing right now, OG. You just don't want to accept it. The Lakers ain't trying to win. They about to blow this shit up, man.
I'll tell you the truth. This may be blasphemy to LeBron fans. I don't even think LeBron's trying to win anymore. I think.
He don't have anything left to prove at this point in time.
No, I think he literally just wants. I mean, he's going to put up his 25, 26, and whatever, and blah blah blah. But I think he just wants to play with his son and play in LA and Hollywood and just kind of.
I think he wants to win. I just don't think he needs. He feels like he
don't need
needs
it
to win anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
it.
Like it's a difference. You can want to like it's almost like I played Call of Duty professionally. There came a time where like after you win the championship like so many times, you don't feel like I need to win anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm already proven. I'm established. Niggas know who I am.
Yeah. After a while, it's just like I said. I mean, BR, if you got anything, man.
Oh boy, how do I follow all this? Honestly, when I got the notification that JJ Redick got the head coaching job, I think their one chance to kind of be half-ass serious about the season would have been if they got Dan Hurley from UConn. When Dan Hurley turned them down, I was like, yeah, they're gonna get JJ Redick, and I'll be shocked if they hit the 30-win mark this year. I think they're gonna be bad this year, like straight up. I really do. I think they're gonna be awful. I really do. Because the roster's not already not properly constructed, and then you get a guy with JJ Redick, although he is smart about the game of basketball and knows the game of basketball. It's one thing to talking in the podcast, it's another to actually like put it on the court. So it's like if that team hits 30 wins this year, I would be like shocked. I'm really
winning
not
30. All right, let's not be blasphemous. They're gonna win 30 wins. They're gonna win 40 to 43 wins, and they'll be in a play-in because they're that talented of a team. But even if, and let's say positively, let's say JJ Redick is an exceptional coach coming out because word has he is looking at like a phenomenal assistant coaching staff. Like Sam Cassell,
He better get it.
Sam Cassell is phenomenal. Scott Brooks, I think, is underrated what he did with Portland. Just because Chauncey Billups sucks as a head coach doesn't mean Scott Brooks is a bad assistant coach. Even Rajon Rondo, I don't mind because I know he equally deserves a right to at least develop as an assistant coach. So I love the coaching staff, but let's say he's exceptional, and let's say this team is a top 6 seed or a top 5 seed. They still have to go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's going to be better. They got to go up against Minnesota, who's going to be better. Denver ain't went nowhere. Sacramento missed the playoffs, and that is really the Lakers' kryptonite because they run so fast. LeBron and AD can't possibly keep up. New Orleans Pelicans are going to come back better. Like, the Western Conference just so stacked that the Lakers potentially could have their best season that they've had since they won the championship and still get knocked out in the first round.
Still get knocked out the first round.
Yeah.
And still get knocked out in the first round.
And as much as he's been playing, LeBron's another year older.
Agreed.
On top of that. So, like, and that's not a disparage to him. Like, Father Time gets to everybody. So, like, you don't know, at some point the body breaks down. Like, it's inevitable. You just can't do it no more. So but you're right though. Like this could go right. But I think because they're gonna, like I said, they're gonna draft the kid, and it's gonna be a circus, and I just don't see. Not to mention they don't really have the piece. Like for them to be a 5th seed, everything would have to go perfectly. Like AD would have to be healthy. Again, LeBron's body would have to hold up, which it has, but I'm just saying, like, that would have to, and all the other pieces would have to, contribute and play well and stay healthy. And then JJ would have to be a, competent coach. And do you think LeBron's going to let his kid just be on the end of the bench?
I mean, yeah, I actually think he would, to be honest with you.
I don't think he did.
I think he would keep, I think he would have Bronny there, and he would show Bronny the ropes. I think if anything, you could accuse LeBron of probably closing himself off from the rest of the locker room so that he could be that mentor that he wished he had in Cleveland when he first was there. He'll be that to Bronny. So you could say that he could probably be accused of that, but I don't think LeBron is going to have fucking Austin Reeves minutes get cut for the sake of Bronny James being there. No, I don't think that.
We're gonna have to see.
They just hired his drinking buddy.
But real quick though, man. Real quick before we go into the next segment. PSP had another one question. Who's your greatest NBA coach? I don't know if he's talking about all time. I'm assuming he's talking all time. For me, Popovich. Flash.
Yeah, I'd say Pop. Yeah, I agree.
All right, Casual, can you do it without going into a speech?
Wait, what happened?
Can you give us your greatest NBA coach of all time without giving us a speech?
Greg Popovich.
Damn. BRF.
Make it unanimous.
Damn. Greg Popovich, greatest of all time.
Champ, you need to clip this part that we all.
Oh man, I'll definitely clip it there. Greg Popovich, greatest of all time. Wow. Oh, wait a minute, man. Run it back.
I mean, I say this. If you look at Greg Popovich's work and you look at what he was able to build, basically doing it all, like he was the cultivator for that culture, and to be able to get those players in with his schemes. Just everything that he was able to do for that culture. I mean, and to be able to do it for as long a period of time as he did. I mean, I'm making it. It's unanimous for me for this podcast. It's Greg Popovich.
Yeah. The comp is Belichick and Brady with Pop and Duncan.
Yeah,
because Pop had an idea. Duncan carried it out on the court, and that culture was built through them. That whole
Exactly.
culture, which is exactly what happened in New England too. Belichick was the general, and then Brady was the good soldier that had to do like make the culture a reality, and that's what Pop and Duncan were.
Greg was heavily dependent on Tim Duncan and his ability to essentially carry an entire offense and defense on his own in his early stages. But by the time we get to 2007 onward, after Tim Duncan tore his ACL, or I think it was his meniscus, Greg Popovich had grown to be much more polished on the offensive end, to where he developed a system to where even there was discussions on whether Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili was more impactful than Tim Duncan.
Well, I mean,
that's how great
we could argue the fact that the whole influx of European players is because of Pop.
It is because of Greg Popovich, yes.
So
yeah. Plus, I will say I didn't mean to interrupt the Flash. Go ahead.
No, that's all I was going to say. That was it.
And I will say this before we go into the next segment, which is a fun segment. Hey, when you really look at Phil Jackson's career, he was always the finisher. He was never the builder. When you really look at, the 90s Bulls, he was the finisher for that team, because Doug Collins that team was built with Doug Collins. If you really look at the Lakers, they was built with Dale Harris. So he was pretty much the finisher during that time, not necessarily the starter. Hey, RC Buford and Greg Popovich really did a hell of a job at building the San Antonio Spurs. And hey, remember this: people was calling for Greg Popovich's job at one point. Because they started off, I think, 1-4 during one season, and he had fired the head coach and became the head coach himself. So they was calling for his head even after he won 2 championships. So I mean, yeah. Greg Popovich, greatest of all time as far as coaching is concerned. Honorable mention has to be, Red though. Red did a hell of a job.
Red Auerbach and Steve Kerr.
Yeah, they have to be. They have to be considered that. Great discussion, PSP. We always appreciate that, man. Always. But let's get into something fun, man. This week, man, I've been watching Uninterrupted on Vice TV, man. Been a lot of good basketball stories, but one in particular caught my eye, and that was NBA Jam. Man, we all remember that he's on fire, man. We all remember the nostalgia. I remember playing at arcades. I remember beating guys one by one. Just, like I said, back in the day, NBA Jam, you line them up and taking them down. So, hey. So, but I got to ask this question, man. But there was another game that came out that, that intrigued my love of basketball, and that was NBA Streets. And that was a hell of a game within itself. So I got to ask y'all, man, this. Which one y'all taking? NBA Jam or NBA Street Volume 2? BRF?
I'm taking NBA Street Volume 2. I mean, I get NBA Jam has the nostalgia. I mean, it pretty much started the fun arcade basketball, the culture, but NBA Street gameplay, graphics, just NBA Street was, for me, is like the perfect arcade video game. It was perfect. Like, I think that there's nothing wrong with NBA Street Volume 2. The soundtrack, just everything about that game was just perfect. And I'll throw in an honorable mention real quick. Do any of y'all remember the NBA Ballers game?
Yeah, I remember the Ballers game. Yeah,
that game was fun in itself too. But I'm taking NBA Street Volume 2 10 times out of 10 over NBA Jam. I will say this: they did bring it back, and I think that, like the remake, they did reboot it, and I think it did do the old games justice. But if you just sheer gameplay, just everything, I'm taking NBA Street Volume 2, and that game was just, for me, that's the perfect arcade sports game for me. I'm taking Street.
Flash.
I think NBA Jam is more iconic because it was something that we never see anymore. And then you had the arcade factor of NBA Jam, not just like the at-home play, but that was a big game in the arcades as well.
And the one-liners.
Yeah, like, I mean, everybody our age is saying boom shakalaka, like,
Is it the shoes?
But I think as a game, I in my opinion, NBA Street Volume 2 is probably arguably the best sports game of all time. On not just replayability and fun and graphics and how well all of that was done. Like, I know EA Sports gets gets crapped on a lot these days, and it's well deserved. As somebody that used to play in the Madden tournaments years ago, and played Madden until my thumbs fell off, and played in the national tournaments, EA's deserves all the flack it gets now. But they've also put out some amazing games, and NBA Street Volume 2 is up there. It's one of those games that I've thought about just for the sake of playing that game, about getting an old console just to play that game. That's how good that game is.
Hey, Casual, you go, then I'll go. Casual. All right, while we're waiting on Casual, I have to bring out this fun fact. In the beginning stages of NBA Jam, that machine made an average of $2,400 a week on each machine.
God,
Louise.
And no, not only that, it was the first $1 billion game in the arcade.
Really?
Very first $1 billion game.
That's why I said the arcade factor of NBA Jam, it has it again, it's more iconic, but that's it. The first $1 billion game.
Yeah, it made $1 billion in the arcade, 1 quarter at a time. Not only that, one thing that I found out by watching that documentary, it out-earned the first Mortal Kombat in the arcade by 150%.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. It out-earned more. It beat Mortal Kombat in the arcade.
I guess that makes sense, because if you really think about it, NBA Jam, any person could walk up to NBA Jam and play.
Mm-hmm.
It with Mortal Kombat, there was a little bit more of a skill set to it. With NBA Jam, you could get, I could go outside right now and get 6 people, and you could have an NBA Jam tournament, and everybody could kind of figure it out at some point.
Yeah.
So that kind of doesn't surprise me, but it also does at the same time. That. Wow.
Yeah, at the peak of Mortal Kombat, it beat the first Mortal Kombat. And man, look, when I found that out, I'm not talking about just beat it by a small percent. It beat it by 150%. It beat it by a wide margin. And look, when you talk about EA Sports, man, them being a huge game commodity at one time, you got to remember, at one time, EA Sports had 3 of the most popular games, arguably, of all time. Had NBA Street, NFL Street, and one that's very, very near and dear to my heart, Def Jam Vendetta. So, those were some of at one point, they had these 3 games. But on the same token, Midway, one of the greatest game developers of all time in that company, at one point, they had Mortal Kombat and they had NBA Jam, not to mention they made the Terminator game as well. They made the Terminator Judgment Day game as well. So, big ups to EA Sports and Midway for being trailblazers in their respective areas, because, man. But as far as go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I'll throw this in there real quick. EA Sports, if you're listening to me right now, please, for the love of God and everything that is holy, remaster Def Jam Fight for New York. I won't ask again.
Yes. And hey, look, we all know D-Mob was Suge Knight. Y'all just couldn't say his name.
I do think I do.
Y'all just couldn't say. Well, y'all was afraid to say his name. We knew that was damn Suge Knight shit.
I still, dude, the amount of money that EA could make if they just basically took their old library, a lot of their old library, and just remastered it for the new consoles.
Yeah,
can you imagine if they just remastered NBA Street Volume 2, and they just remastered it? Don't Don't try and make a new version. Don't just remaster it and kind of update it. Leave it the same. Don't touch it. I don't want new EA Sports to like mess with it. I just remaster it, upgrade the graphics a little bit, keep the engine the same, get the processing a little bit better, and just re-release it. Like if you came to me and said we won't release that game on NBA Street and you got to pay $100 for it, heartbeat, $100. Heartbeat wouldn't even be a question.
That's the same thing that Sega's doing right now, because I know they're bringing out new games that were huge back then, as far as Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and things of that nature. So I'll see y'all that video later as well. So, man, out of those two, I'm taking NBA Jams over Street, simply because that was, it was always so fun to beat somebody at he's on. I mean, to literally drive somebody crazy because they can't stop you when he's on fire. Especially, just dominate a whole game. So, I mean, not to mention, man, look, those cold.
Am I the only one that would take NBA Street?
Huh?
Am I the only one that would take NBA Street?
No, the Flash and BRF said they take a Street, but I'm taking Jam.
Oh, okay.
But I'm taking NBA Jam because not only that, just the codes. The fact that you can play as Will Smith in that game, the fact that you can play as Warren Moon in that game, the fact that you can play as Mortal Kombat players in a basketball game against your favorite NBA players, man. So I'm taking NBA Jam.
Shout out to Stretch.
Yeah, so I'm taking NBA Jam over Streets.
Real NBA Street players know who Stretch is, man.
Yeah, OG. But yeah, man. Casual, you taking NBA Streets, right?
Oh yeah, I'm taking NBA Streets.
Yeah,
NBA Street. Like I love him. I love NBA Jam. But unfortunately, by the time the NBA Jam that I was able to get familiar with was the one that was refined. And so the codes and all of that stuff, albeit we had some, they didn't feel as original because by the time they refined the NBA Jam, like there was plenty of games. Grand Theft Auto took the code shit to a different level. So NBA Jam like sort of lost that mystique. And plus NBA Street Volume 2, I played until I was blue in the face. So I'm gonna have to ride with what I view as the original basketball parody.
Okay. No problem, man. So what we're about to do right now, we're about to segue into football, man. I know Casual, you don't really mess with football like that.
No, who I agree with though.
I know. I got
anybody, you. For anybody that don't know our slogan, when you see me and you see Champ and you hear football's about to be on, you just know you're not seeing this face no more. But anything that Champ says, I agree. All right, y'all, man. I'll holler at y'all.
All right, appreciate it, Casual. Hold it down.
All right, Casual.
Love.
All right, now. Casual, one of the subject matter experts in basketball. Make sure y'all go follow Vanity Sports immediately, man. Hey, if you want expert analysis on basketball, it doesn't get any better than Casual. But we got to get into that pigskin, man. Basketball season is over, and we got to get into that pigskin. We only got like 2 more months before they start kicking that ball off. So I got to ask this question, man, before we get all into the nitty-gritty of the NFL. And I got to ask all y'all this, man. Last week, it was who was the real running back you. This week, who's the real wide receiver you? BRF, who you think the real wide receiver you is, man?
Whoo, Lord, wide receiver you. Gosh. I'm gonna go Ohio State. I'm gonna go Ohio State. I mean, Chris Carter, and then like your recent guys like Garrett Wilson and good Lord, Ohio State's had so many good receivers come out. Who else am I leaving out? There was one that was like a short lived. I think Joey Galloway was Ohio State. David Boston was Ohio State. Even though he had like a short career, he hit his peak. You have to kind of include David Boston in there. That peak year he had with Arizona and NFL. Gosh, who else is there? As a Falcons fan, You got to throw Michael Jenkins in there. You got, as a Falcons fan, I got to throw Michael Jenkins in there. He was really good at Ohio State. You got to throw him in there. He was good at Ohio State. You got to throw him in.
Yeah.
You got to. You have to. He had a decent enough career in the NFL where you can say Michael Jenkins. Don't be you ain't got to be ashamed. Let's see who else did we have? Gosh, who am I leaving out? I know I'm leaving out.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Terry Glenn.
Yeah.
The late
Terry
great
Glenn.
The late great Terry Glenn. Yeah. Wow.
So I would go Ohio State. As far as a wide receiver, I would go Ohio State.
Flash.
This is really hard. I would have to say USC. I think USC. You got Dwayne Jarrett, Johnny Morton, Kerry Colbert. Let's see. Frank Gifford was a wide receiver. Steve Smith, Keyshawn Johnson, Lynn Swan, Marquise Lee, Mike Williams. Kind of going through the list here. Calvin Sweeney. Yeah, I think
Drake London.
Yeah, like there's
Drake London.
I think when it comes to NFL talent, I think that would probably go more towards. Oh man, I don't know. I'll go with USC.
Hey, I hate to do this, but I got to give credit where credit is due. Alabama.
Yeah, I think they're
Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Aldo Tragedies, Henry Ruggs, Smith. At one point, they had Jalen Waddle. They had a little bit of everybody that came from the University of Alabama, and I think LSU is right up there with them.
Yes,
LSU is right up there with them. When you think about Odell Beckham, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, just to name a few. Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson both on that same team? They were on
that 2019 team. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to give a shout out to Alabama because I'm from Wisconsin and I think one of the greatest NFL players of all time, who never gets mentioned in there just because he's such an old player. But Don Hudson, went to Alabama, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. So that's another one in Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, and look, top three, I will say LSU, Alabama, and the U. Because when you think about the U, Michael Irvin, Melvin Branton, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, I mean, the list goes on and on. So, I mean, you got to put the U up there as well. And hell, the U is the U. The only thing that the U didn't put out on a consistent level was quarterbacks. And unless you go back in the 80s. I mean, when you think about Bertie Kosar, Jim Kelly, and Vinny Testaverde. One fun fact I understood that I found out about Vinny Testaverde was, when Warren Sapp bought this to Light Shot, Warren Sapp, one of my favorite players of all time, although he played for the Yucks. I didn't know that Vinny Testaverde, the reason that he threw all those interceptions because he was colorblind.
Really?
Yeah, he was colorblind. He was colorblind. So that's the reason why it seemed like he was like, why the hell did he throw that? That's the reason why he threw so many interceptions, because he was colorblind. That's the reason why they give that color test now when you come into the NFL, because the Vinny Testaverde rule, because he was colorblind.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't know that till recently. I was like, damn, Vinny Testaverde's colorblind? I'm like, yeah, he was colorblind. So
dude, I'm looking at Miami's wide receivers. Wow. Like, you got Andre Johnson, Michael Irvin, Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss, Eddie Brown, Ryan Blades, Braxton Berrios, Philip Dorsett, Roscoe Parrish, Randall Hill, Travis Benjamin, Brett Perriman, Alan Burns. Oof. Yeah.
That, all of them succeeded in the NFL, not just one of them. I mean, Andre Johnson, those guys, they just at the top end. But
yeah. Wow.
so,
Yeah, I forgot how many wide receivers they put out.
yeah. So look, I just can't have a clean show, man. I got to put y'all on the spot for like 2 seconds, man. 2 seconds. Who wins? Who wins? Who wins? 2004 USC versus 2019 LSU Tigers. PRF.
Oh. Oh, this is so hard.
Wait, 2004 who?
USC Trojans.
SC. This is so hard. God.
Strikes again.
Because of I get SC had Reggie Bush and Lindell White and all those boys. But I'm looking at the depth at wide receiver plus the running back core. And I think 2019 LSU, I think it's a push on defense between that LSU squad and that 04 SC squad. I'm taking 19 LSU. I think they did. I think they did a little more on offense because, I mean, it's not just the fact that they had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Terrace Marshall was their 3, putting up damn near 1,000 yards as a number 3, and then you had a back as versatile and as dynamic as Clyde Edwards-Helaire on that roster. I'm taking. God, I think by a smidge. I'm taking 2019 LSU over 04 USC, and also I think because I feel like Joe Burrow as a quarterback operated at a much higher level than Matt Leinart did in 04, and I think that's saying something.
Flash, who you taking, man? 04 USC Trojan or 2019 LSU Tigers, man?
My heart wants to take 04 USC because I loved Reggie Bush in college. I thought Reggie Bush in college, I thought he was the second coming. Like, I thought dude was going to get to the NFL and just, like, he was beyond fun to watch. To me, he was like watching him in college was like watching this, like, baby that was created by, like, Marshall Faulk, Barry Sanders, and O.J. Simpson. Like, he was something incredible. But BRF is exactly right. What separates 04 USC versus 2019 LSU is Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Joe Burrow's a far superior quarterback than Matt Leinart. Now, don't get me wrong. Matt Leinart is a great college quarterback. But he doesn't even sniff Burrow's jock when it comes to that. I also think LSU's defense is deeper and better.
Yes.
I think that's what sets. I think those two things set them apart. I think if you went offense for offense, I think USC could keep up with them for a while. But I think what separates them is Burrow and that defense. Like I said, my heart wants to take 04 USC, but it's 2019 LSU. Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in there. Is it 2019 USC or 01 Miami Hurricanes?
Miami.
2019 LSU or 01 Miami?
Yeah.
Miami. If that team was so good, I looked up a stat. That team was so good that if their offense never scored a point, they would have went 8-4.
You said if their offense didn't score a point, they still would have went 8-4?
Did not score a point, they would have still went 8-4.
That's insane.
That's how great the University of Miami was in that 01 season. Plus, man, look, that team, when you talk about depth, they had Antrell Roll, Vince Wilfork, Kellen Winslow. They had a little bit of everybody. And most of those players that we know and love, that team was so deep, Sean Taylor was on the bench.
I'm looking at it again. It's the this is the only time.
Yeah,
man. But dude, I would love to see flipping Joe Burrow and those wide receivers against this defense.
Because like I said, those guys were on the bench. I mean, that offensive line, you had Brian McKinney. I mean, you had Jeremy Shockey. He was a great tight end at that point in time, and
And Kellen Winslow Jr. was the backup tight end.
Keep this in mind. And this is how people love to discredit Frank Gore, but people don't realize Frank Gore got hurt that year. He got hurt damn near all 4 years at the University of Miami. He was the starter.
Yeah. Is it crazy for me to say I think the 02 Miami squad was better?
Wouldn't be crazy. I mean,
because I'm looking at the 02 Miami squad. Sean Taylor and Ed Reed were starting. Clinton Portis was the starting running back. I'm looking at Santana Moss. I'm looking at Kellen Winslow Jr., Jeremy Shockey on the field at the same time with Andre Johnson, by the way. That offensive line with Brian McKinney and Eric Winston as your bookend tackles. Looking at that defense, not just Sean Taylor and Ed Reed as your starting safeties. See Antrell Rolle, Philip Buchanan were your corners. Jonathan Vilma, DJ Williams were your notable linebackers. Vince Wilfork, who was I'm trying to think who was rushing, who was the end, who was one of the ends, and I'm trying to remember. Crap. I think the 02 Miami squad was better than the 01 Miami squad.
I don't know. We got to remember, Ed Reed had left after the 01. He had left after 01.
Yeah, he was a senior in 01.
So
okay.
So the guys who was left was Frank Gore got hurt again that year. So Willis McGahee became the starter by default. And if you want to talk about a great running back room, you got to go no further than 2001 Miami Hurricanes, because the thing is, they had Joe Jackson, Najee Harris, they had Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, and Walter Payton's son all in the same running back.
Yeah,
so you're not going to get a better running back room.
Dude,
so you talk about a running back room, you're not going. And be honest with you, Joe Jackson, it's a shame that he didn't make it to where he wanted to be, but he was very, very talented. But Najee Harris, you know about Najee Harris because you're a Packers fan, Flash. Najee Harris was hell of a blocker, hell of a back out the backfield.
Najee Davenport.
Yeah, Najee Davenport.
Yeah, Najee Davenport. So, I mean,
I the only thing that makes me go maybe LSU pulls it out is because Burrow is way better than Ken Dorsey. By a mile. Way better than Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, by a mile, and he could probably stop Anita Browning before he catches him. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would make me go. But man, that defense, Jerome McDougal's that dude off the end, and he was.
Yes, okay, that's the notable guy I was thinking about. It, Jerome McDougal. Yes.
Vince Wilfork was a freshman on that team.
Yeah, he was on the bench. So, but yeah, man. Back to LSU versus USC 04. Hey, people. Hey, Lofa Tatupu. A lot of those guys on that defensive side, they get sold short. But I have to say, I got to go with LSU, man. I got to go with LSU simply because SEC football is a different breed of football. And when you beat 5 top 10 teams in the SEC in order to get yourself to the national championship, especially nowadays, especially beating that 2019 Alabama team who had just as much talent, beating Georgia who had just as much talent. I mean, if you really think about it, they beat 2 national championship teams on their way to their national championship. So it's just crazy because remember, Alabama won the very next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, right after that, we came into the picture. So, you basically beat 2 national championship caliber teams on your way to your national championship. So when it comes to USC versus 04 Trojans versus the 2019 LSU Tigers, I got to go with the Tigers. Hey, we're going to get into some more of this, man. I'm going to come up with some more hot topics for next week. Put our heads together to come up with some things. But last topic before we bring it all home and have a happy Friday. NFL preview. Which division is the true blood and guts division? The AFC North or the NFC North? Based on every position. Flash, you have the floor.
Oh, I'm going to give the edge to the NFC North.
Okay.
Just because I think, oh man, okay, because I think Love and Stroud are basically even as MVP candidates, and then you got like the second one would be, this is harder than the last question. I am usually not a loss for words, and this one was really tough for me. I think what separates actually, okay, I'm going to go back on it. I think the AFC South is a deeper division. And I think the reason why is because we don't know Minnesota.
Talk about the North.
Minnesota's the weak one.
Yeah.
The AFC. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I talking about the AFC South?
Yeah. The AFC North or the NFC North? Who's the true blood and guts division? So which North is North?
AFC. That's the AFC then. Because I think right now, because I think Cleveland is I think the Baltimore-Pittsburgh rivalry has been going on for almost 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland has finally ascended, and Cincinnati with Joe Burrow is a Super Bowl contender. Whereas you go to the NFC North, Chicago's been kind of crappy for the last handful. They haven't really been. They've been Chicago. They've been the Bears. Now they have a great roster and possibly one of the best young quarterbacks ever, or prospects ever. So, and Detroit's finally ascended, but Minnesota is in this weird limbo because of we don't know what's going on at quarterback. So I think right now, not to mention if you look at not just the history between Baltimore and Pittsburgh and that rivalry, but then you also have the Cleveland-Baltimore connection with the Browns leaving to go to Baltimore and everything else.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think there's more. I think you go back 25 years prior to it's the NFC North. I think the last 25 to 30 years, I think it's the AFC North.
All right.
That's how I look at it.
Georgia.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's AFC North for me, and I don't even and not just like all of the rivalries in that division, but even like as far as just last year going into this season, all 4 teams in the AFC North. Although with Cleveland, it's a lot depending on it's all depending on Deshaun Watson and if he decides to show up this year. All 4 of those teams could legit contend for playoff spots. Where I don't see that where in the NFC North, you're looking at Detroit, Green Bay. I feel like a shoe-ins. Chicago's a dark horse, and then Minnesota, I don't see much from. So I'm going with I'm like and just based off and going position by position too. I feel like it's definitely like I don't going into the season. I don't think it's close. That is the AFC North going into the season, position by position, and yeah, like if you definitely want to look at history, I think the NFC North being the Central all those years before they turned into the North with the realignment, that division was I don't know, it was like a lot of times it was just kind of like two team dominated, whether it was Green Bay, Minnesota, or Chicago, Green Bay, just like there weren't. I don't know. I feel like the AFC North has had more years to where every team in that division could display some form of relevancy as opposed to the NFC North. So yeah, I'm gonna go AFC North on this one.
I'm gonna go AFC North as well. Hey, and it's not even close in my humble opinion. A lot of these teams have a lot of upside when it comes to the NFC North. It's upside. You really think about the Bears, when you think about the Vikings, and when you think about the Lions to a certain extent, can they do it again? So I mean, you really got to think about a lot of upside. And no disrespect to Jordan Love, he was an MVP the second half of the season, but at the end of the day, it's one season. We have to be realistic about it. Versus these teams in the AFC North, the coaching is there, the quarterback play is there, the championship pedigree as far as the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens is there. The defensive players are there. The coaching is there when you think about Jim Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, who just won Coach of the Year, Mike Tomlin, who's a hell of a coach, not to mention, the Cincinnati Bengals coach, who, to have Drake Browning and you lose your quarterback at the beginning of the year with Joe Burrow, and you still go 9-8 and damn near break a playoff berth, and having people saying potentially, depending on how Jake Browning played, if he would have made a deep playoff run, they would have been talking about a whole nother thing, which we won't go into at this point in the show. But I think the coaching is there, the defense is there, the players are there. AFC North by a mile. But I have to say this before we end the show. I would be remiss if I didn't say rest in peace to a trailblazer within himself. Rest in peace to the great Willie Mays, one of the all-time greats in baseball. Definitely were the Trailblazers. Not only that, Barry Bonds' godfather.
Yeah.
So so got to pay homage to Willie Mays. Like I said, he was one hell of a trailblazer. And one fun fact about him, he was an MVP candidate every year in his illustrious career.
Legit, like one of the best like baseball players of all time.
Exactly.
Like top five. Like we're talking about legit. Yeah, that was a very sad thing to hear that he passed away.
Yes, indeed. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that. Like I said, a trailblazer, a true trailblazer. That word gets thrown around a lot, especially during social media ages now, because if somebody eat a bag of potato chips in the bag clothes, all of a sudden he's a trailblazer. No, Willie Mays was a true trailblazer, and when you think about the times in which he was playing with guys like him and Hank Aaron, it cannot be understated of what he meant for the sport of baseball. So I salute you, Mr. Mays. Thank you for all the contributions that you have made to the sports community and the things that you've done for the community within itself. There's been footage of him all over the place playing baseball in local communities with a pipe in his hand, playing with the young kids and showing them what they can be. So for you to show us, a lot of us, what we could have been and what we can be to this day, I salute you. Thank you, Mr. Mays. So, man, look, Been a fun time, man. Always good to hang out with the big three, man. Hey, man, that concludes the show, man. But I would be remiss, man. Start with you, BRF. Tell the people where they can find you, man. I know they see it on the ticker below, but we want to hear from you, though.
Well, always, champ. Definitely always fun. Always a pleasure to hop on the podcast with you, chop it up, doing what we do best. Same thing with you, my brother Flash. Always a pleasure jumping on here with you. You can follow me at the TikTok at BRF Sports is the handle. The link tree is in the bio. /Big Sugar 1122. Click it. You'll see my Facebook. You'll see my X/Twitter, and you'll see my IG, where hopefully I kind of get to do a little more posting. I need to hop on that. So I definitely appreciate the following. I definitely appreciate all the love. It's time to get back on this. Time to ride this out. And it's like I always say, a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. Always a pleasure to jump on here with you. And y'all can follow me, show me some love, and I'll show you the love back with some of the best content on TikTok, because that's how we do.
Yes, indeed. Flash.
You can find me at Flash22 on TikTok. Also, I'm doing a series called Dad Bod to Radbod, where I just I'm trying to get back into shape and show some motivation to everybody. I'm trying to put out more content as well. Hopefully, there's a couple things that I'm trying to make shift in my personal life where I'll be able to do that soon. I do want to put out more content, so I do appreciate the opportunity that Champ's given me and everybody else, and I get to tune in every week with BRF and Casual and PSP and everything like that. Like, it's been a blessing. So go follow all these guys too, because they put out great content. And please too start tuning in every week, because we'll have more of insane arguments back and forth. Trust me.
Yeah, big trust in the great words of Mark and the great Mark Ingram. And I am the undisputed champ, reporting live from the greatest city in America, Columbus, Georgia, man. Hey, good job, Columbus, tonight. It was a very, very silent night. I'm proud of you. If you know what I'm. If you're from Columbus, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not from Columbus, you probably don't know. But it's been a very, very silent night. I'm proud of you, Columbus. So with that being said, hey, we will see you next week. If you want to see us again, though, tune in tomorrow on the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. And we will definitely get some talking points on there too. Shout out to PSP, by the way, man. And congratulations to him as well, man. 7,000 subscribers on YouTube, man. I would be remiss if I did not congratulate him, because like I said, man, PSP is the one put me on the podcast game. So I would be remiss if I didn't say congratulations, PSP. Hell of a job on doing what you're doing, man. We love what you're doing, man. And we're grateful to be part of the movement. But on that note, man, we will see y'all next week, where we will have a lot of other hot topics. And one of the hot topics will be, who is tight end you? We'll get in deeper to that next week. Not to mention some college football matchups from previous times. Some of the greatest teams of all time. We're going to do some matchup segments. So, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how we go from there, man. But on that note, man, we're going to end the show right here. And good night, Columbus. Good night, Madison. And good night, the Flash's hometown, man. So,
Jackson, Wisconsin. Yep.
Good night to Wisconsin, man. So, hey, good night to all of y'all, man. Peace.